Welcome, I'll be discussing the Dalotek Affair. This one should be a little bit later in episode order. The reason for this opinion is we see Colonel Foster and Colonel Freeman having, I assume, lunch. Could be brunch, it looks a bit breakfasty. I mean, I've had breakfast for dinner, I'm not gonna judge. But anyway, they're out eating something and clearly have a camaraderie. So they've been working together for a while. I think that this also goes after Survival and the Tina Duvall incident, where I think Paul basically decided, yeah, I'm not going to try and have a meaningful long-term relationship anymore. It does not work when you have to deal with the responsibilities of SHADO. So he's looking for a good time, and he's looking for other people who want to do that. And in addition, we see that scene at the end of the episode where he and Foster go off for a drink. And I think that that's kind of where their friendship, I don't want to say started, but definitely got serious. And so I feel like this episode is maybe a little bit after Tina Duvall has left. Maybe a couple girlfriends in between for Foster. And we get the Dalotek Affair. So I'm going to put it on and talk through it.
Could I ask you first, what is an unidentified flying object?
This is a really interesting intro. Rather than jumping immediately into the story, we get a flashback, which is always awesome. And it's almost like a mini backstory to Lieutenant Ford, because he was there from the very beginning. We saw that in Confetti check A-O.K. Like, he was there, one of the first picks to join the team. And we know it was tough. They were talking about how many people were eliminated as possibilities during the process. And although Commander Straker is pretty hard on Lieutenant Ford in the show, we know he's the best. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there. And so here we have him interviewing the doctor about UFOs. And so I want to know, how did Ford get involved in this originally? Where did his interest in UFOs begin? Like, was there an incident when he was a kid? Did he see something? Did someone he knows see something? Like, I want to know more. This interview itself is actually really good at giving us a background on what led into SHADO and why they had to create the organization. Also, now that I have it paused, that is a beautiful painting in the background there. I hadn't noticed that before. You know, no matter how many times you watch these, you always see something new, and that's one of the many reasons I love the show.
Have any leading statesmen given their opinions about UFOs?
Ford called them UFOs before it was cool. And here is some sort of restaurant right near Arlington Straker Studios, because we see it a lot. People are always like, we should remake UFO. And I'm like, no, the show is perfect. But I would be interested in some shows around the area. One somewhat wild idea I have is, what if you set it at the restaurant and they just accidentally overhear things every now and then and are piecing it together? And you can have kind of an episode like Exposed, except the person is like a waiter and they keep serving people from SHADO who normally what they're saying wouldn't be a big security risk. But because one of these waiters, like, what about her in the back in the silver bikini? What if she overheard it over and over and was clever and figured it out and then got recruited? All right, about the restaurant itself, I love the design here. Look at these gorgeous plants everywhere. It feels like you're walking into one of those jungle restaurants. And then there's all these beautiful, bright, bold, jewel-like colors. And the waiters apparently can wear whatever they want, and it gets wild. Now, the other costumes are also very interesting. Foster is in this beautiful suit. It's one of my favorite suits he has. I actually had those trousers for a while, now that I think about it. But the problem is it's really easy for them to pick up on dirt. Long story short, I fell in a creek. Anyway, I no longer have them, but it's a great suit. Next to him, she's in a very Ingrid Bergman outfit. Looks like she's walking in from the set of Casablanca, except from here up. Her hair is amazing. I love the roped rainbow hair. It is just, And Alec, you didn't get the memo. Go home and change. I love you, but you're not colorful enough. In the back, notice the guy wearing one of Foster's outfits. But we have another waiter here, and it looks like she's in a kind of knit pink dress. I've seen some like this on Etsy. I bet someone could make it. All right, on the table, we talked about this a little bit in the food episode, but look at all these decanters. They're definitely more about drinks at this place than food. But I just love the bohemian style of this restaurant. I mean, look at the round windows and everything. That's great. The beaded lamp.
Do you remember the Dalotek Affair 6 months ago?
We sure do.
I remember.
The Dalotek Affair.
They transition incredibly quickly here. Walk into the restaurant, sit down, boom, into the story, using this very interesting technique of kind of water and black and white mixed together. But I think it's effective. I mean, all of us immediately know, all right, we're going back in time. It may be a bit dramatic, but it does exactly what it was meant to do. There's no question of like, wait, when was this? They were really showing off the model in that very long shot. That was great.
This is a maximum security alert. Condition red.
Oh no.
Interceptor's immediate launch.
They veered off.
Where are they heading?
According to the readings, back the way they came.
So what happened?
It's anybody's guess.
Guess. With $100 million worth of computer equipment at your fingertips, you still have to guess?
Is it a decoy that's failed or a red herring that's already succeeded?
The latter, alas. Also, Straker needs to have his coffee.
Meteorite?
Looks like it.
Or is it? Dun dun dun.
Definitely a meteorite. In area 017213.
The area the UFOs just were?
A meteorite.
You videoed to tell me that.
Contact the Dalotek unit.
I noticed Dalotek got a passing reference in the Space 1999 technical manual, which is a really fun Easter egg in there. Alright, let's look at their base. We're about to get a panning shot all the way around the room, which is awesome. Looks like on the left here we have some camera or other equipment, tripod sorts of things. The stuff by the door, I'm assuming, is anything that's either really important that they might need to come running in and get, or something that they thought about bringing out with them, and then they were like, I don't know if we need it this time. So this looks like a cute little niche for a dining table or working on paperwork. It's relatively neat, actually. Look at how nicely arranged everything is. More little lounge chairs, although I kind of question the position of that chair next to the door. Like, I'm going to assume they're closets with shelves or something, but it's awfully close to the chair. I'd move the chair like a foot to the right, personally. I like that they included a window so you could actually look outside the module and see the lunar surface, which is pretty cool. I mean, they have a nice space here. It's not huge, but it's also not cramped. All right, everyone's okay?
Let's take a look.
Maybe they were after the Dalotek installation. Oh, don't talk to me about Dalotek. A private corporation has no business on the moon.
Why not? They have hot geologists. I do like that the scientific team's first reaction was like, let's go look.
Your moon project was approved despite my overwhelming objections.
And if there's any trouble,
Obviously, we don't know a whole lot about Blake, but I mean, he seems like a nice guy. He has piles of rocks in his office. I mean, obviously he loves what he does. And he's just there out of, curiosity and probably trying to make a little bit of money because it said the corporation was involved. So he's likely looking for a good ROI on his investment. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. And then he has to deal with what, from his perspective, is just this incredibly obnoxious military guy who just dislikes him for no reason. And I really feel for Blake here because he's like, what is your deal, Straker? Like, come on. We're just out there collecting rock samples. Chill. But I also see from Ed's perspective, because, like, they're doing a life and death. This entire planet is in jeopardy if they fail, kind of a situation. Billions of dollars have been put into this project. And it's not just about the safety of Earth, it's also the safety of his own people who are running around and the interceptors and everything in Moonbase. And having civilians to babysit on the surface of the moon would be so frustrating in his shoes. So I get why he's annoyed. But like, he needs to understand that Blake doesn't know any of what we as the audience know or what SHADO people know. He's just like, what is with that weird military installation? They're so uptight. And that's what makes the episode so great, is that like there's this conflict going on and half the people don't know why. And we, the audience, are sitting here with our popcorn like, this is all just a misunderstanding, guys. Like, if you knew what we know.
In fact, they've been thoroughly briefed.
Then they'll be briefed again, Mr. Blake.
Oh, whatever you wish, Commander.
Have you checked the pressure skin for puncture?
Yes, Colonel. Thanks for calling. Out.
He's like, what? I was just trying to warn you.
It's my impression that he's looking for trouble. Make sure you don't give him any.
Breakdown and Moonbase video link.
There's a select negative, sir.
It really was a genius move from the UFOs to do that, because they're so used to just, oh, okay, another meteorite, whatever. There wasn't enough suspicion to go check it out. And then the Dalotek team, of course, when they find the equipment, is just like, those military people up to it again, whatever, must be one of theirs. I kind of wondered, did they specifically wait until the Dalotek team appeared and the humans would be blaming each other for the equipment even when they found it? Because I kind of get the sense that they did. And it makes me really wonder, how exactly are they getting their intel? Because they seem to know a lot about what's going on Earth. And obviously they have much better technology than we do. But I'm guessing they planned this. But we also think that it takes a couple months to get a UFO out here.
Perhaps several months. At many times the speed of light.
I mean, I'm guessing they have some way of maybe intercepting radios and phones and stuff, maybe a few weeks before they actually arrive on Earth, maybe inside the UFO, and they're able to come up with a plan. Sorry, apparently a group of mobiles was passing by. Anyway, I assume that they have full communication back to their home planet and could talk to people and be like, all right, we intercepted some communications that there's a second civilian Earth installation on the moon, and SHADO is not happy about it, and they don't like each other. So what can we do with this information? And the aliens are like, great, I have an idea. Like, did they talk through this? Maybe with some experts at home? Or is it more a plan they come up with on their own when they arrive? I mean, we'll never know because this is from the perspective of Earth, obviously, but it's just fascinating to think about how the UFOs decide on their nefarious plots. What's interesting, though, is Foster was shown in the earlier part of this episode as fairly okay with Dalotek being here. So out of everyone, he's actually a good person to be talking to here. He'll be more likely to believe them. But they don't know that, unfortunately. They're just like, ugh, G.I. is here.
Why don't you get some sleep? I will, but not until that video link is back.
Oh dear. It's easy to be a bit judgmental about Straker saying that, but let's be honest. Have you ever lost internet and then been like, I can't sleep until I get internet back? When you become really reliant on a piece of technology, it is overly anxiety-inducing to lose access to it. And we see how often he talks on it. It's one of the side effects of being a workaholic, I think. Why do you need internet? Well, to do my work. Why do you need to work 24 hours a day? And those of us who are workaholics are like, what do you mean not work 24 hours a day? Anyway, I totally get that. And this is why we all need Alec in our lives, to be that stabilizing influence, to be like, it's okay. I know you can't do all your work the way you like to right now, and let's go get some steak. No! I love their relationship.
And you're absolutely convinced that we're to blame?
It seemed the logical conclusion.
Well, I'm glad we've been able to change your mind. If you have any questions, please ask her.
It's like, first question, are you single?
We'll install a landline between here and Moonbase. If there's another blackout and the geoscanner isn't transmitting,
We're
then...
in the clear.
Yes.
I'll wait for your first call.
Like, are you two done flirting? I have actual, like, work to do. And this is where it gets awkward with Joan.
How's reception?
Well, our own private line.
Tell me, Jane, what do you do in your evenings off? Well, I know this marvelous little Italian restaurant not 200 miles from here.
How the devil do we eat fettuccine through a quarter-inch space visor?
Well, listen, I've got a moonship coming soon, so I'll have to be going.
I love how Joan is spending the entire time trying to pretend she's not hearing all of this conversation. She's just like... Her expressions in this scene are so priceless.
Do we have it on positive track?
Yes, sir.
Switch to computer control for landing.
Roger.
And here is where we have the most intense scene of the episode. Because you can't have an entirely lighthearted UFO episode. That wouldn't be right. This is terrifying.
Control to...
I have lost you. Maintaining control for computer landing.
Poor Foster here. There's nothing he can do. He can't communicate with them. He knows if they don't switch over, they won't survive. The actor did such a good job right here of just showing his terror and frustration and powerlessness in that moment.
Switching back to manual control.
It's too late.
You must have switched to manual, but I think it's too late.
Incredible model work here, but such a tragic scene.
The radio blacked out and all the crew were killed.
We have a moment here that's very brief, but it kind of humanizes the crew even more. They really did a good job of showing us a lot of their final moments and then finding this in the rubble. You can tell the shift in the episode tone right here. Back at Dalotek, when Jane is like, the entire crew was killed because of the radio blackout. And the look on the faces of the other team members and their shock. And then jumping straight to this scene just ramps up the tension and jeopardy levels of the episode so perfectly. Like right here, we're feeling it. We're like, this isn't just Commander Straker can't yell at someone on Moonbase anymore. This is serious. People died, people we care about, people who have families. We have to figure this out. And it's such a good job. It's, I think, about halfway through. Yeah. Excellent storytelling here.
End your operation.
But you can't mean that.
Look, who do you think you are? You don't have the authority.
I do mean it. And I do have the authority.
I like that we get to see them using the table. And interceptors rely almost entirely on computers, so this is where things get really tricky if it goes out. Yeah. He should have gone by his first instinct, which was, it was not Dalotek.
We lost him again, sir. And the emergency link?
Tried it.
I just want to talk about the background right here. I like the detail of everyone at their station doing their work. And then we have someone in the very back. He just walked up to the computer printout terminal to go check on something to do with his job. And I like that he's just kind of oblivious to everything going on here. He's just walks up the stairs, starts working on the computer up there. And I bet in a minute we're going to get him having a printout and walking off or something. And I like that even if you're just watching the background characters, they're clearly doing their jobs at SHADO. You know, they're not just walking by haplessly. All right, now watch everyone in the background. She's working on internal communications back there. We have someone walking straight up there to the computer terminal. He turns it on, we see it spin, and I think that's just brilliant. In that scene, we also saw Joan with her pencil and piece of paper just scribbling. And we know from other episodes she's a math genius. So she's probably right here going, okay, we don't know if we're going to hear from S.H.A.D. We don't know any of the targeting information. She's probably right now doing calculations on paper as a backup plan in case the computer doesn't come back online. That's my impression of what she's doing in this scene, is just math. So they're over here busily trying to get the connection back. Again, background characters. She's on the phone. She's writing notes. She gets off the phone. She goes, presumably, to go talk to whoever the message was for.
Run the video, please, of the interview with Dr. Strange.
All right, he has a yellow clipboard. Watch him. He walks up to the library station right there. And he kind of just sort of stays here for this scene. Now let's jump forward to 33. I don't think, talk directly to the library station. So they would put in a call to the internal comms person, who was the blonde we saw earlier with the clipboard and the notebook and the phone. And so they're probably talking to her, and then she is letting the person know at the library station to run it.
Run the video, please, of the interview with Dr. Strange. Channel it into Commander Straker's office.
Yes, sir.
And there she is.
Hello, Colonel. We were just about to call you. You know that installation of yours in that new crater?
What installation? It doesn't belong to us.
Dun dun dun.
Approximately 2.2. 5 minutes from the last known trajectory termination.
And what's interesting here is, again, we see Joan did all the maths herself. And I like how calm she stayed. She was like, well, all right. Okay, I have the numbers. And that's why I love Joan.
Fireballs. The ancient Romans called them fiery discs.
Thunderbolt?
Actually, clear up to this
Or?
year, 1969, UFO
meteorite.
problems.
Yeah, I like how both kind of sides figured it out around the same time. Moonbase got it and Earth got it. And so when they finally get communication back, they're like, I have the news. Oh, you already know. Okay.
In crater 236.
This is such a beautiful shot. Looking through to see those two.
Our orders are to go straight in and destroy the installation.
What about the Dalotek base? It's pretty close by.
I assume Colonel Foster's thought of that.
Explosive decompression, guys. Better brace for impact. For everything going on, this team is actually fairly chill. I like the Dalotek team. Yikes. They did a great job blowing all those papers around for that scene.
Switch to computer link for course correction.
A missile firing sequence.
Whew, just in time.
I see now why Commander Straker was so reluctant to have us up here.
Mm-hmm.
Your position, everything you've told me, it's a safe secret with me.
Yeah, especially because we're going to wipe your memory. Like, as I said earlier, if Dalotek just understood exactly what the military was doing on the moon, there would be a lot more understanding. And we saw that happen right here, where he finally sees Moonbase and what's actually going on with the aliens and everything. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can see why you didn't want us up here. We saw this in Confetti check A-O.K as well, where Straker was like, if I could just tell Mary why I'm doing this, she'd understand. And Alec's like, well, obviously you can't do that. The security guys would just... But he was also correct. A lot of the challenges that S.H.A.D.O faces are because they can't tell people. And anyway, I like that they highlighted that in a little mini scene there. Her shoes are the same silver shoes that we saw her wearing earlier when she was inside. So those are definitely her shoes. The skirt does look like a Moonbase skirt that she borrowed off somebody, maybe took from the stores. The top, I'm not sure. Like, she could have brought it with her and therefore brought it to Moonbase, or she borrowed it from somebody. Anyway, I think it's really cute that she has a combination here of her own clothes and then stuff scavenged around at Moonbase.
There wasn't anything we could have done.
But it would have happened anyway. was inevitable.
We never did eat that fettuccine.
Aww. I also want to mention here, we have this great close-up that she does have a little bit of gray hair. And as someone who's starting to get gray hair now, this just seems to be something that happens to you when you get into your 40s. And she's still absolutely stunning. And this is just very encouraging, I guess you could say, that I think her character is about my age, is still seen as, you know, a really cool person that Foster could fall in love with. And obviously I'm not into guys, I'd be more into her, but like, you know what I mean? If you can be at her age or my age and have a little bit of gray hair going on and you're still beautiful. That's a really lovely message here, that they didn't dye her hair all brown. They could have dyed her hair and they did not. And they did a close-up to show us that they didn't. And I love that. I had to point this out. And we are back into this little dream sequence and then into the present.
How does that old song go? Love's more beautiful the second time around. Just as wonderful with both feet on the ground.
So I have no idea what song they're referring to here, by the way. If someone knows, please post in the comments.
Now, I would say you are some kind of geologist. May I sit down?
Oh, yes.
All right, well, good luck, Foster. I hope you enjoyed that kind of looking at the Dalotek Affair, bit of a commentary there. I mostly wanted to feature Joan, to be honest. I love her in this episode. And a lot of you are wondering, like, why didn't you talk about the Dalotek Affair that much over on your Joan video? And I was like, that's because I wanted to do a whole thing about this episode, which is definitely one that I come back and rewatch a lot. Because other than that really hair-raising moment, losing the lunar module crew, which, heart-wrenching, most of this episode is fairly positive. And I really love the ending. It's cute. I know that she and Foster probably dated for like a month. But, you know, they're still sweet together and whatever. I can enjoy that. As you may have noticed, I have no particular schedule on this channel. It's just when I have time and feel like talking about something. And I just love the Dalotek Affair and was like, you know what? Let's do this. It may be a little bit of a while before I do another video just because I need to kind of concentrate on doing some of the cosplay right now. I'm working on finishing up the mobiles uniform and obviously Skydiver is still in the works. So I have a lot of like minutia, such as right now I'm working on belt loops for the trousers that are used for both uniforms because you have to do the exact number of belt loops in the positions of the show. So I actually got trousers going without them to start so that I could add them in the correct areas. There's 2 in front, 4 on the side, and then 1 in the back from what I can tell. There's your trivia question for the day. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I haven't forgotten about UFO. In fact, I'm sitting there with a needle and thread going, why am I doing this again? Until next time, interceptors. Immediate. Uh-oh, we lost radio communications. Not immediate launch, just one moment. Joan, can you get that back for us?